That's what he was
Yeah.
doing. And I, you know, it was something. It was something to see. You know, not too many people get to see that.
No, and it's very astute of you to catch that. Many junior detectives or officers may not have saw that those cues that he was the body language that he was sending. So thank God that you did. Thank God
Oh
that you
yeah,
did. That you were seasoned enough that you could actually see it, and you know, because that could have been his coup de grace, right? He knows he's
yeah.
done, and
Made the gunfire,
yeah, yeah.
but he was quite a person. Uh, just a different, very very different, very different. But maybe not so different. Maybe there are a lot more people like that than I was aware of at the time. Um,
Uh, yeah, um, probably right. Very likely.
Certainly,
Yeah,
absolutely
certainly.
certain.
Not to scare people that are watching or listening, but certainly that what they say any given time. There's a number of serial killers on the loose.
Yeah,
Um, you know, um, interesting. Again, I keep on going back to he was much more than a serial killer, and that part of who he was and that part of the investigation, if you will, or actually probably would be a separate investigation. That's why it probably never happened. Is mystifying. How many people is he responsible for killing? And we're never going to know. And then even though in modern day with DNA and the analysis and what they have today, there is no really mass communication between different jurisdictions within the state, really, as opposed to, you know, tri-state, and then you go out to national. That how many young women are out there who have died, and the autopsy had revealed a 22 caliber gun. That seemed to be his methodology when it came to his drill killings.
well,
One where she was killed via a knife. That my indication with that is she very much like the hitchhiker back in '74. She felt, and very much like you in that interview room, she felt something was wrong. She realized she had made a mistake by getting in the car with him, and she tried to get out, and he didn't have time to reach for his 22 caliber. He it was an unanticipated resistance, if you will, and
yep.
that's he killed her that way. That's the only one that really doesn't fit his methodology, and that's probably a pretty good assumption on on that.
You know, just talking about this with you, it seems to me that his DNA would be the ideal DNA to submit to do a commercial DNA workup, much like they did on that cop that was the serial killer out in California.
Yeah, exactly. And you wonder if they ever even, because this occurred before DNA was really there.
Yeah, but
Um,
he died in he died
2008.
in, yeah. So
Yeah.
they would have taken a sample from him in Trenton State Prison.
Yeah, you're right. And you wonder if there is such a if anyone has ever even looked into that. What connections does he have to any other pending things? I know obviously it would be an exhaustive, you know,
Yeah.
you know, thing to do, but certainly, especially in New Jersey, roll out those cold cases and look to see how many were young women and how many died, via a small caliber handgun or caliber weapon.
How many died before he killed the prosecutor in Bayonne? How many unsolved do they have up there before that case? And he went to prison for, what was it, 28 years?
Well, collectively, his first stint was only 16, I think 16 or 17.
Well, and how many unsolved exist after that? So I don't think, and he was in this area his whole life in Staten Island, New Jersey. Aside from the time he was in, I think he was locked up in Kentucky at a juvenile facility for stealing a car. But for the most of his life, he was in that Staten Island, New Jersey area. So I think this would be an ideal case to submit his DNA for that, for that public analysis that would link somebody that, submitted a DNA kit to see where their background came from, to see if there is any Biegenwald DNA out there.
Yeah.
Especially in a case where there's somebody been murdered. But he would have had to submit a sample.
Yeah, you're right. I totally didn't think about that, but you're right. Well, hopefully one day, some of these things will be resolved. And getting back to how you had mentioned about the plea deal. Interestingly, you mentioned the 75 bodies, which James Fagan had indicated that that's what was offered by the defense, that if they took the death penalty off the table, life in prison, they would give up 75 bodies. Lou Diamond mentioned to me the number of 25. So it just shows you through the years, that exact number has been lost. Jimmy's pretty sure that it was 75.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
75.
75, which leads me to think, one, it's a substantial number of people he killed. Two, it's likely that there is a repository location, as you had indicated earlier, in Staten Island, where he dumped these bodies, because you would not be able to recall 75 separate locations.
No.
So it's either one or two, could be several different repositories where he's buried the bodies. Lou Diamond believes many of them are down at in the Pine Barrens.
Well, there used to be, I think in the early 70s, they discovered a farm in Jackson Township, New Jersey, that was used as a burial ground for the mob from New York City.
Oh, wow.
It was in Jackson Township. It was a farm, and I don't remember the name of it. But and when they say 75 bodies, I think we need to parse that. Diamond said he can give up 75 bodies. Does that necessarily mean he killed 75 people, or he participated in 75 murders and he can give up other people too? So I think he killed a lot of people. I'm not certain in my own mind whether he alone was responsible for those 75, or whether he, sometimes did it with somebody else, or he knew of somebody that took a contract and killed a guy. But his home on Sharrock's Road was in an ideal spot, because it was
I agree. Yeah,
It was pretty remote there.
I agree. When I went there, that's what I thought. Yeah, it really is. You just wonder, and I think it's state property beyond the backyard. So, and he was known to bury at least one body under the basement, and I think it was Point Pleasant, and then move that body to, I believe, Sherritt's Road. So he was known to bury bodies, in a very shallow grave, if you will, knowing that down the road he would transport that body to maybe a more permanent location, if you will. And I do believe that the two bodies buried in his mother's backyard were probably going to eventually get transported somewhere else.
Well, those two bodies were originally buried on the property of a junkyard that abutted the property on Sherritt's Road, where the mother's house was. But he moved them when the junkyard started to expand, and they started to get closer to where the bodies were buried on their property, and that's when he buried them beneath on the outside of the house, beneath the kitchen window, where his mother did the dishes every day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I really appreciate your time. We're getting, I guess, to the hour point now. Is there anything else that you think that it's important that we talk about and discuss?
No, but I think having a discussion maybe in the future about what was inside of his head may be beneficial. I mean, I have some things I can talk to you about.
Hey, I appreciate it, Mike. Let's definitely touch base and keep in touch with that, because I'd like to get your insight on that.
Yeah, contact me and I'll tell you some stuff.